Here are 7 times when the little mischievous devil Bart Simpson was actually a victim. Number 7. The blame game. Bart vs. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving turns into a disaster when Bart accidentally ruins Lisa's centerpiece, a tribute to iconic women like Georgia O'Keeffe and Susan B. Anthony. The chaos escalates when Bart, frustrated by the centerpiece taking up space, throws it into the fireplace, turning it into ash. As the family's anger mounts, Bart is blamed, leading to his punishment of being sent to his room without dinner. Marge tries to console Lisa, but Lisa's anger turns to poetry, writing Howl of the Unappreciated about her brother's betrayal. Meanwhile, Bart refuses to apologize, claiming Lisa's to blame. Eventually, he runs away, finding himself in trouble at Mr. Burns' mansion, and eventually donating blood for a free meal at a soup kitchen. Back home, the family tries to salvage Thanksgiving, but Marge and Homer begin to worry about Bart. Meanwhile, Bart regrets his actions after witnessing the suffering of others and returns home, determined to apologize. When Bart and Lisa finally talk, he acknowledges the hurt he caused, and they make amends. The family reunites for a late Thanksgiving feast, this time with a true spirit of gratitude. It's a chaotic, heartfelt holiday, but in the end, the Simpsons find a way to come together. Number 6. Bart gets left out. The Great Christmas Letdown. Alright, so let's talk about the time when Bart got left out of the family Christmas celebrations. This wasn't just any regular holiday screw-up. We're talking about Marge Not Proud, where Bart did the unthinkable. He shoplifted.
Go ahead, Bart. Take it a bone store.
Naturally, Marge went into full mom mode, thinking she'd been coddling him too much. So, what does she do? She pulls the emotional rug out from under Bart, excluding him from all the Christmas festivities. Talk about an epic fail. Bart, being the emotional rebel that he is, ends up feeling like a total afterthought. The dude's basically left out in the cold, both figuratively and literally, while the family gets their merry little Christmas on without him. Sure, Bart's been a troublemaker before, but this time it's different. He's being made to face the consequences of his actions in a way that stings, especially coming from his own mom. It's a moment that hits hard because, let's face it, we all know what it feels like to be the one person who's not invited to the party. Now that's the true holiday horror. Number 5. We'll really miss you, Mrs. K. A heartfelt goodbye. If you're a fan of The Simpsons, you know that Bart's chalkboard scribbles are iconic. But in the episode 4 Regrettings and a Funeral, it wasn't just your usual prank. Bart's message hits us right in the feels when he wrote, "We'll really miss you, Mrs. K," honoring the late Marsha Wallace, who voiced Miss Crabapple. Now, this was no ordinary chalkboard gag. It was the show's subtle yet powerful tribute to an incredible voice actress who passed away. Wallace wasn't just the voice of a character, she was a part of the heart of the show. And this moment was a way of saying goodbye to someone who helped them make The Simpsons what it is today. And what makes this even more emotional is that they chose not to recast the role. Miss Crabapple's absence was felt, and this simple yet poignant gesture reminded us that some things, like the soul of a character, can't just be replaced. Number 4. Bart fails his test again. The epic meltdown. Now, we've all had that one test where we felt like the universe was against us. But for Bart in the Season 2 episode, Bart gets an F. He takes it to a whole new level. Dude fails his history test, gets one last chance to pass, and naturally, decides to procrastinate his way through it. Enter Snow Day Miracle. Of course, the universe doesn't make it easy, and he still flunks. But the kicker? When Bart breaks down in front of Miss Crabapple saying, "You don't understand, I really tried this time."
Oh, no, you don't understand. I really tried this time.
Man, that hits hard. It's one of those moments when you realize, despite all the pranks and mischief, Bart's got some real depth. His failure isn't just about being lazy. It's about the pressure, the struggle, and the painful realization that sometimes, no matter how hard you try, things don't work out. This moment set the stage for a more complex relationship between Bart and Mrs. Crabapple, making us feel like maybe, just maybe, school wasn't the enemy after all. It was life. Number 3. The Butterfinger Incident, a family feud with Burns. Oh man, let's dive into this episode. That's Bart getting hit by a car, and Bart gets hit by a car. Now, this isn't just any car accident. This one involves Mr. Burns, the scariest, most unlikable dude in Springfield, running Bart over with his car. But instead of showing any remorse, what does Burns do? He tries to bribe the Simpsons to drop the charges. Classic Burns move, right? But here's the kicker. While Bart's unconscious, his soul takes a little trip to heaven. Or maybe it was hell, who knows? Watching his family's ancestors do their thing before being sent right back down to earth with a devilish continue to sin encouragement. Fast forward and we've got Lionel Hutz, an attorney who's about as shady as a discount lawyer can get, offering to sue Burns for everything he's worth. This entire mess is a mix of absurdity and emotional chaos, as Bart gets caught up in a legal battle he didn't ask for. It's an early lesson in the Simpsons world. The worst things tend to happen when you least expect them. But what does Burns do after all this? He throws Homer out of his office, because obviously no one messes with Burns without consequences. Number 2. Homer's never-ending choking, a dad's wrath unleashed. Let's not forget the absurdity of Homer choking Bart.
You little turning a sweet little bitch!
Seriously, it's like a recurring theme that somehow never gets old. Take Bart the Lover, where Bart pulls an epic prank with a fake love letter. And what's his reward? A classic Homer choke fest. It's all played for laughs, but honestly, when you look at it, there's something a little darker about it. Bart's just trying to have some fun, and next thing you know, his dad's got him in a full-on necklock. It's a reminder that despite the humor, The Simpsons often dives into these bizarre family dynamics that hits a little too close to home. Homer's choking isn't just physical abuse, it's a weird mix of frustration, love, and bad parenting. And it makes you wonder, how many times can you have a chokehold before it stops being funny? Probably more than you think in Springfield. Number 1. The fake psychopath label, Bart's Comet. What starts as a harmless prank, Bart launching a weather balloon, turns into chaos when Principal Skinner pins the blame on him, turning the whole town against him. After Bart destroyed the school's weather balloon, Skinner names him the prime suspect, and Bart unwittingly incriminates himself by revealing he's kept blueprints and an alternate name for the balloon. His punishment? Helping Skinner with skywatching at 4 a.m. But things take a turn when Skinner leaves to retrieve the balloon, and Bart plays with the telescope. Looking through it, he accidentally discovers a comet in the sky. When Skinner returns, Bart's discovery makes the news, and Springfield citizens are thrilled, until the Super Friends point out that the comet is heading straight for Earth. Lisa warns Bart, and the scientists confirm it's on a collision course. The town's desperate plan to launch a rocket fails, leaving Springfield trapped. With no other options, they crowd into Ned Flanders' bomb shelter, only to kick him out when it gets cramped. Outside, they await the comet's impact, but it burns up in the toxic atmosphere, shrinking to the size of a chihuahua's head. The comet harmlessly falls, and Bart pockets the remains. Springfield citizens march to the observatory to destroy any evidence of the event.